Hello, my friends. Welcome to the ThePCelitist, a channel dedicated to video game commentary and discussion, always from the PC perspective, the greatest platform on which to play games. My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd.
And Shepherd has something he wants to bring up.
He finally contributes.
Finally.
And the first time I
usually
contribute...
just sit there and smile.
Yeah,
That's
I usually
enough.
sit here and leer at you while you talk. I do have something to contribute, and it's not even an original thought. I'm stealing it from someone else, but I will...
Good for you.
I'll give him credit.
Okay.
Andrew Chan, if you're listening, this one's for you. I was talking to my friend Andrew, and what he said, he's a director and producer, and he was talking about the movie industry, but as soon as he said it, I immediately thought about the gaming industry, and I think he's absolutely right about both, if he were to say it about both. Here's what he said, quote, "Movie studios aren't run by filmmakers anymore. They're run by MBAs, and MBAs only know one thing, and that's formulas." And as soon as he said it, I thought, well, first of all, he's right about movie studios, and it's evident from the movies we're seeing that they're very formulaic and they're just there to make money. But this is something that Woodsie and I have talked about a great deal, and I think that this was the best way to put it in my mind. Very simply, we're not getting games that were not that these MBAs are conceiving of these games, but they know what formulas work, they know what games sell, and that's all they know is how to make money. They're very good businessmen, but all they know is how to make money and not necessarily make a good product, because I do think you can make a lot of money, and that doesn't mean your product is good.
Well, I would actually change that a little bit. They don't know what games work. They just know what games have worked.
Very
Therefore,
true.
they need to keep the trend moving.
That's true.
So, you asked 2 years ago, you said Microsoft, and show them Minecraft. Literally, show them screenshots of the game. Say, you're going to be funding this game in 2 years. You're going to want this on your system. They would look at you cross-eyed and be like, excuse me? Because they didn't. There's no way they could have guessed.
Bill Gates would fly in on his jetpack and punch you in the face.
Right. It's a good point because people have been talking about games, and I think of them as an art form. And obviously, your friend Andrew is an artist. He's a director. He's got an artistic mind. It's something of a disappointment to him that movie studios are not run by the art form. They're run by business guys.
And just to be clear, we're not anti-executive and pro-artist. We think artists are dumb. We like when they make games.
Well, it's just...
No, I'm kidding.
This
isn't a bee-bobby, big, bad corporations ruin
right.
everything.
Well, like I was about to say, is that you have to think that industry drives the type of games you get, for good or bad, at all times. You know, people like to think that if it's coming out, it's the best games that can exist. And I think that's the whole consoleization. PC gaming standards used a word that it's not coming to me right now. That he doesn't use consoleization anymore. He has changed it.
Casualization?
Exactly. Beautiful.
Thank you, PC.
Yeah.
Well done.
That, which is true, is that there's patterns to these games, and that doesn't mean you're getting the best game. And to explain to casual gamers that there's better out there, there's more engrossing experiences, is not an easy task all the time. Especially some people don't want a more engrossing experience.
They don't want to be immersed.
Right. And I think you're going to get a separation, which was mentioned in that little article I just showed you about the game developer, Wild Flying Hog.
Excellent name.
Yes. That was the developer
Yeah, I
name,
think
right?
so.
Who just released a game called Hard Reset. And their contention is that there's going to be a divergence. There's splitting. They're going to casual mobile gaming, like iPod gaming and that kind of thing. And then there's going to be the platform hardcore PC guys who are downloading games. And it gives so much power to the developer of the game to just release on Steam because they get reap all the benefits. So It's just what the industry is doing is so important to what games you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're getting a game on Xbox doesn't mean it's the best version of that game. Doesn't mean it's the best that game could be. Just because it costs $5 million to make doesn't mean a lot of things. It just means that they saw the numbers that another Call of Duty game will make $20 million. So they're gonna make one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna contradict myself in the same sentence. I'm not blaming the MBAs for this trend, but I am blaming them. They're doing their jobs. They're beholden to shareholders. They're there to make money. And these companies like EA, and not that everything they do is bad, but when they shove out games early, and I know the rest of you, I see it on Metacritic. You guys go nuts when games are shoved out early and they're not polished. These guys are just trying to make money, and they don't want to spend, they did some cost-benefit analysis where they're not going to spend an extra $2 million in development if they don't think it's going to pay off in at least $2 million more in sales. But I think a lot of things, as you were talking, a lot of the points we've made in previous videos are kind of coming to me now in the sense of, is what's happening now in games, the casualization of games, as PC gaming standards so eloquently put it. Is that going to end up being a good thing? And you have talked a lot about how, and we did a video on how the way consoles are now and the way they're trending could actually end up helping PC gamers, in that a certain subset of the hardcore gamers will feel left out, and there will be kind of a backlash towards more PC gaming. And another, and I'm going to kind of just name several things we've talked about in previous videos, but I think they're all connected. When we talked about sim versus arcade, at the very end when I said, could this be a good thing because these sim game creators are now making games that are much more in-depth, much more detailed for the hardcore enthusiasts. And the final thing I just want to bring up is from our Honor Among Gamers video. And I'm talking about things that I don't like where people cheese this and that, and you said, but those things are actually good because when a server gets mad at a guy for doing a certain thing, it calls attention to it. Right. And when something is when you call attention to something, that's when it gets fixed. And I think we've seen this not just in gaming, but in politically. People may move to the right, to the left, and at a certain point there's a backlash where things get too out of hand. People deem it to be that way, and then there's a backlash to try and fix it. We saw in the 80s there was liberalism going, and in the 70s, Jimmy Carter, this and that. There was a conservative backlash that elected Reagan. And we don't want to really get into politics here, but I think it's evident that things go a certain way, they trend a certain way, and at some point a large enough group of people say, enough, we want it to swing back the other way. Right. So I wonder if, and I know that was a long-winded tangent, but I wonder
it's okay, I went and got a drink.
Yeah, you did. You got 4. Now you're sloshy. I wonder if the trend we're seeing in gaming may end up being a good thing, and it's kind of what we've been saying, in bits and pieces all along. Are we going to see this PC gaming backlash, where it's the golden revival of PC gaming, where people are just getting fed up with the crap that's being pushed out now?
Yeah, I think,
And Magica is the answer.
I've explained to you my theory before, that people who played PC games back in the early 90s and such was a small base of people who have grown as they gotten older, or people who were adults then and just wanted to continue that type of trend of sophisticated gaming. Saw it kind of crash land when the consoles came out and started sharing PC applications. They dumbed down everything, okay? But now there's a much larger base of people who are now playing games. So when they're getting older, they're going to want something more sophisticated, hopefully.
In theory.
In theory. That, Call of Duty 11 is not going to cut it anymore, you know?
And you're already starting to see people flip out on Call of Duty. And I'd have to pull it up to see for sure. But Black Ops, beloved by the publications, hated by many a gamer.
Right.
People still play. What was it? Average 65 hours of gameplay.
Right.
I think you're starting to see people say enough with Call of Duty.
I think that's a lot of issue with major publications who are reviewing games, is that they're not thinking forward. They're not thinking one of my favorite ignorant quotes of IGN. Okay? It just pissed me off when
By
I
the
read
way, IGN are the first 3 letters of the word ignorant.
Thank you.
Just hit me.
Pointing
Sorry.
that out.
Go ahead.
They were doing a review of From Dust, the game where you're this little tribal member, like shaman.
You're the X-Woman Storm, where you control the weather.
Right. You control elements. You control the sand.
Oh, yes.
Whatever. Basically, the core of the gameplay is your village is getting attacked by ocean and sandstorms and all sorts of things, and you control the elements to help to save the people and the thing. Anyway, there was a quote. Only this generation of platforms could produce this type of gameplay. Which pissed me off because little games like that have existed forever. Forever.
Since the Dark Ages.
Yeah, controlling sand, yeah, that was new when Dig Dug was around. You know? Games have had
Hold on. That's the best way to name a game. Present tense verb, past tense verb. Dig Dug. Fantastic. Shoot shot. The new shooter.
I mean, maybe. I mean, okay, if you're talking about graphically, it's the only game that... Well, that's true every generation.
Yeah.
Okay? But the actual gameplay has been... How many games have there been where you're fighting the elements in some way? It's been around. Forever.
SimCity.
Exactly.
A tornado in Los Angeles.
And they go, no other... Until this platform, this gameplay couldn't have existed. How old are you that you don't know that this has been going on forever? It drove me nuts. I just imagine like a 12-year-old holding a pen like in just this big ham-fisted way, just going, "This is the only way." Oh God, it made me angry.
Is that how 12-year-olds talk?
So, where did we start this conversation on? We went on a journey.
It was me. It was my fault. But really, though, I do wonder if you're going to see this backlash. I think that people will say enough. I mean, like I said with Call of Duty, people, when they do reviews of shooters, one of the most common things I see is, like with Duke Nukem, the positive reviews, it wasn't because Duke Nukem was good. People were praising it because it wasn't Call of Duty.
Yes.
And you and I, when we saw that, we said, that is sad.
That is so sad.
That is so sad.
Yeah. Well, whenever I say to anyone, it could be an old a grandmother. Have you ever played Crysis? What? Oh, it breaks my heart. You haven't played Crysis? What's wrong with you?
Poor granny.
So, I mean, I feel like we made all these very excellent points, but I don't know what to address to people listening.
Okay. Do you think... First of all, do you agree with our premise that games are not... they're obviously designed by developers. Do you think that gaming companies aren't led by game designers anymore? Do you think that that's the true? And if that's true, do you think that's a reason why we're getting so many formulaic games that are just pushed out, obviously to make a quick buck without any consideration for lasting enjoyment? Do you agree with that? Do you think, for example, if there is some kind of backlash and companies get wise and they say, okay, you know what? This time, let's bring one of these developers into the room for these big decisions. Let's let a representative of the people get involved here. Do you think that this is where we're headed for games being dumbed down, being casualized, as PC gaming standards would say? Do you think we're headed in that direction? And is it a good thing? Is it a good thing in the long run where gamers will get frustrated enough to just a de facto boycott, to just stop buying games like that? Or do you think because new gamers are growing into 13, 14, adolescence, do you think that there will be a constantly refreshed batch of saps who will keep games like this going?
That's a good way
Yeah.
to say it. Yeah. Yeah.
My verbosity knows no bounds.
Okay.
As always, what do you think? Let us know. If you like what we do here, subby sub.
Yes.
And
thumbs
comment.
up.
We like thummies.
Thumbs are
Upward
good.
facing thummies. And let us know what you think. I am Shepherd.
My name is Woodsie, and this is the ThePCelitist signing out.